Welcome to the channel, everybody. I am your stream guide Morphine, and tonight we're going to be going over Streamlabs tutorial, how to set it up. We're going to be demoing it. We're going to be showing you the dashboard, talking about the differences between Streamlabs Regular, Streamlabs Prime, all that kind of stuff. There is a link that if you want to get Streamlabs Prime, which we'll be going over, you can click on that. It does support me, and it also gets you a discount if you want to upgrade from Streamlabs Regular to Streamlabs Prime. This is the Streamlabs app that you can download and use. And in Streamlabs, which is built off of OBS. If you're familiar with streaming, then you're familiar with OBS, which is the preeminent free streaming software that you can use. You download it, it has a million configuration options. You can do whatever you want. You never have to pay a dime for it. It's pretty awesome. Streamlabs OBS is built off of OBS. Streamlabs is owned by Logitech, and you don't have to pay anything for Streamlabs OBS. What it does is it sort of takes OBS and it just makes it easier to use. Streamlabs has everything that I need, that I want to configure, so I'm perfectly fine with it. And like I said, Streamlabs is free. Now you heard me mention a few minutes ago that you can get Streamlabs Prime, which is not free, and what that does is it adds a few additional pieces on top of Streamlabs that just make it a little bit easier, and we'll get into that in a few minutes. When you want to go live with Streamlabs, you're going to go to your editor up here, and that is the screen that you're looking at right here. And what I have right now is I have used the split screen of the studio mode, and so what that allows me to do is it allows me to have what I'm showing live and what I'm editing. So if I were to say, if I wanted to put my starting screen back, actually, let me do this. If I wanted to know, if I knew that my home screen, my face cam screen was the next screen that I wanted to show, I could put it in edit and get it ready to go when I'm ready to go live. And I could make changes to it before I push it over, so I can do whatever I need to do. Now, you open up the screen in the editor, and down in the bottom right-hand corner is going to say something that says Go Live. When you click on that, what it's going to show you are the pre-configured platforms that Streamlabs will transmit your stream to. And that's Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. All you have to do is go and click it, you log in through it, and then you can stream to it. Now, one of the advantages of Streamlabs OBS Prime versus just regular Streamlabs is that multi-stream is configured for you. You can just do it. In OBS, you have to get a plugin, you have to configure it, and you have to do that all yourself. In Streamlabs Prime, it's already set up for you. In fact, you can add numerous other places too, like Trovo. You can't really add Glamesh yet through Streamlabs Prime. Well, you can. There's a lot more configuration you have to do. Downloading files, changing strings and files, manually adding it to Streamlabs, and then you can do it. But something like Trovo is easily configurable if you want to do that. Another option where you go live is you can hook it to your Twitter account, and you can have it send out a tweet every single time you go live. And what it will send out, you can customize this, but it'll send out by default is your stream title. Down in the bottom right hand corner, which you can't see, next to this Go Live is a button that says record. If you hit that, it will record locally, and you can record as many streams as you want. It's usually going to be better than uploading to Twitch or YouTube and then downloading the VOD from those two platforms, because this is basically going to be your raw, uncompressed stream, which is going to look better in general than downloading the VOD from Twitch or YouTube. In the bottom left-hand corner, there is some stats that you can configure. And the stats that they have there all the time are the CPU usage and the frame rate. So if you see your CPU usage at whatever percent it is, That's not your computer CPU usage. That's the CPU usage of Streamlabs alone. There's one other little window here that you can see right in the middle. This is your mini feed, and this is just showing you everything that has happened to your chat in however long. If I was testing something, like actually earlier today, I was setting up Moji Chat right before I went live, and I wanted to see how it worked. So I just hit this repeat alert, and it shows it again on stream, right? And so what that does is just let you know that it's working. You can use that for placement. You can use that for make sure the colors look right, whatever you need to use it for, but this does allow you to test. I can tell you if I'm multi-streaming, if somebody follows and subscribes on Twitch and they follow on YouTube, I will get notification from both. So you can stream to multiple places. Now, the way that I'm able to interact with chat directly through here without having Twitch open is because when you open Streamlabs, you don't just open it. You log in as a platform. So right now I'm logged in as Twitch. So when I multi-stream to Facebook or Trovo or YouTube, I can stream there and I can see their chat. I just can't interact with it. If I want to interact with YouTube's chat, I need to log out of Streamlabs, log back in as YouTube, and then I can interact with YouTube chat through Streamlabs. Then if I was multi-streaming to Twitch, I would not be able to interact with Twitch's chat because I'm not logged in as Twitch. The main thing that you want to pay attention to is the scene section here. So in the scenes, you have a drop-down button here, which allows you to have multiple installed scenes set up so that you can switch between them as you want. Now, I don't recommend trying to do that live. It's not that it will really break anything, but it could mess up the flow a little bit. So I typically tend not to do that. In fact, I usually stick with just one stream. If I'm shooting a YouTube video, quite often I'm going to do that with Streamlabs open and my camera on. And then I have another set of scenes down here that I use specifically for shooting YouTube videos offline. And that works out pretty well. So one thing that I want to show you here, and I went over this on my last stream about the smartest way to set up scenes when you have multiple scenes, especially when you're using the same elements in multiple scenes. So whether you realize it or not, when you're adding items to a scene and you create another scene and you add maybe the same item to that, it keeps it twice in your computer memory. So it's using up twice the space. When you switch scenes, what it wants to do is show it to you, immediately. It doesn't want to have to queue it up and then show it. It wants it to be ready because that's how you are when you want to switch to scene. So what I did, and what I'm going to guide everybody to do, is when you are setting up scenes with the same elements, you can set it up in one scene. And then let's say I was going in here and I wanted these things to always be in one scene. So I could highlight them like this. I could right click and I would say group into scene. So what that's going to do is it's going to essentially remove them from here. It's going to add them as their own scene. And it's going to, whatever you name it, it's going to leave it in here with that name. Now, when I click on this, I can't see anything because it is actually its own scene. So like I have a scene that is included in this scene called browser sources. If I double click on this, in the edit window, it changes the scene to browser sources, and now I can see what's included in that, right? So I have Moji Chat, Alert Box, Sound Alerts, and Say It Live. So because I did it that way, all I have to do to add that group of elements to any scene is just go hit the plus sign on the scene I'm on, and then choose scene, hit add source, and then scroll down and find the scene that I want to add to this. It adds it all on. My scenes used to look really, really cluttered because I had a bazillion elements on each one. Now it's a lot more clean cut. So I have logos, Intermission bottom, which is this part down here. Intermission top, which is anything I have going on up here. Ads, which is disabled, but they usually would play, you know, there's like a banner right here, and sometimes there's something going on the right. And then browser sources, which is not something you see, but if I showed you the ones that I'm using, if you're using any of those, then that's where those would be. That's the most efficient way to set up your scene. So when you're doing it, you hit the plus sign and you have all of these options that are standard, right? An image, and most of these are self-explanatory. An image, a browser source, like it says, it allows you to add web-based content as a source, such as the web pages, widgets, streaming video. When you go into Twitch and you want to add like the Say It Live, like I showed you, I have set up, it will tell you, hey, add this as a browser source. So what you're doing is you're going to go hit a browser source, you would hit add source, and unless it's already configured, you would say, you know, add new source, you type in the name, and then it adds it on, and then you go and do your configuration, basically adding some kind of URL and any other configuration pieces that you need to, and then that is set up. You have image slideshow, which is exactly what you think it is. You can basically point it to a folder, and it will ripple through all the images in that folder. That's the easiest way to do it. You have display capture, which is what you're seeing right now. A display capture allows you to capture one of two monitors on your computer, and you have that set up in the screen. There are multiple reasons that you would want to use this. If you really just want to show the whole screen, some people say, well, I just want to show one particular app. Let me do window capture, because that way I can say, okay, I want to show this executable, and it'll show just that executable. That I find works better for me is to actually just go ahead and capture the entire monitor. That way I don't have to worry about it. Now, it isn't as clean as using just the individual executable, because it's capturing everything. So I tend to crop off some of the window that I just don't want to see, like the status bar or something. I usually crop off. Now, that doesn't help when I'm trying to show someone how to set up system sounds with audio mixer, and I need to show that. In that case, I can alter the scene a little bit so you can see it, but normally, you know, it's not that big of a deal. Game capture is exactly what you might think it is. Audio input capture is how you set up all your audio sources. Open VR capture is not something I've ever used before because I don't use VR. A scene, we covered that a minute ago. You have a color source, which is you can just upgrade, you can just change the color of the background if that's what you wanted to do. A media source is how you're going to add some sort of audio or video file. The video intro that I have set up, you know, as soon as I go live, that's how I'm doing that. I have a media source for the video that I have playing. Text, yeah. Window capture, I talked about. Video capture device, this is where you're going to set up your webcam or your capture card if that's what you need to do. Your audio output capture card, your audio output capture, which is your desktop audio, and the VLC source. So that is all your standard elements that you can add to your scene. Then there are widgets you can add. These are all built-in widgets. I don't need to go through each one of these. You know, I imagine they're all pretty self-explanatory for everybody. You have alert boxes, viewer counts, some games like Stream Boss, Spin the Wheel, things like that. You know, all pretty self-explanatory. And then you have apps. Now, the apps are something that you're going to use if you have STREAMLABS Prime. It's not that you can't use them with regular STREAMLABS, you just have to pay for them individually. But if you have STREAMLABS Prime, which is $10 a month, $10 to $12 a month, or maybe like $120 per year. But you can get a discount on that if you sign up through the link, which I can see right above. You click on one of these if you have installed the app in your STREAMLABS, and you hit add source, and it, just like all of the widgets, just like the other scene elements you can add, it adds it, and you can see a configuration screen that you can set up to do whatever you need to do. One other thing that I wanted to mention here, and let me see, is the mixer. So this is for all your audio stuff. You have the ability in STREAMLABS to set up a individual audio channels if that's what you want to do. And it works especially well if you're recording locally or you're recording to STREAMLABS cloud storage. If you have STREAMLABS Prime, you can go in here, you can go to audio, and you can decide which of the audio channels in Streamlabs that you want saved as a separate channel, so that when you are editing this later or whatever you're choosing to do with your VOD, you can do something or nothing with any of those channels. And it's kind of like, it's part of the functionality of an audio mixer. Now, if you don't have an audio mixer where you only have a few basic channels for audio on your computer, you are not going to see that many channels. But here in the mixer, you're going to see individual items, and these are come from every single element that you add to your scene is going to have a listing here in the mixer. Now, one thing that I do, and this is another tip, is you don't need to see most of these. Especially if it's element like if I brought in an image, well, I'm not going to have audio from an image. So you can just click on this gear and click on hide, and then it's just not going to show it. And so you don't have to worry about seeing it because it gets kind of crazy. And in fact, I will do this with here because I don't have my sub goal active. I will hide emoji chat because I don't have audio from that configured. But alert box, sound alerts, and say it live, I do keep those visible because they do have audio. When you do something with references like I was telling you about, and you bring something in, that audio level is going to also remain the same on all your scenes. So if you did want it to be different on a specific scene, you would have to change the audio on that scene at the time that you're using it. But if you want things to be consistent, the reference ID I told you actually works well because it's going to be the same on every single scene. If it's muted or hidden on one scene, it'll be muted or hidden on another scene, so you don't have to worry about it. So it just makes it easy. These Twitch streams become YouTube videos, and when I edit them, I like to quite often add music to the track when I'm editing it. But if there's music already, then I can't take that music out, so it just makes it more difficult, especially if I actually decide I don't want music when I'm editing it. So what I typically choose to do is leave the music off when I'm going over something other than just Q&A, so I can add it back later. That's just what I do. If you are using Streamlabs and you're recording through Streamlabs, then you can choose to have certain elements not included in your recording, but included in your stream. Some additional things you get in Streamlabs, even with the free version, is there are some overlays that they include for free. There's not a ton, but there are some. And unlike something else where you go and you download, you go to like Owned, or you go to Nerd or Die, you purchase and download an overlay, and then you bring it in here, and then you configure it, and then you're fine, you're good to go. If I wanted to say go into Advanced Overlay Maker, and let's actually go to, that's not the right one, Themes, sorry. If I were to go into Themes, and these are all different overlay packages that I can get, that I can install, all I would have to do is click on one of them and hit install, and it will immediately install it, and it will make it my active overlay. And literally it takes like, I don't know, 60 seconds to do that, which is very convenient, but it's super easy to do, you know, and try something else. But go to Themes, and free, you're going to have only a few in there that you can use. But if you're using Streamlabs Prime, you've got, you know, 40, 50, something like that, themes that you can use. Also here, something that you get with Streamlabs Prime is Alert Box Library. And this is really cool. So they don't have a ton of alerts in here, but these are just different kind of alert boxes that you can install. I think right now I'm just using the minimal RGB. It's pretty basic. But until I can get something else, because I'm not a huge fan of the other ones in here, given like the kind of overlay style that I have. So until I get something like kind of off Fiverr or Place It, I'm just going to use the basic one out of here. The next thing down is the App Store. If you don't have Streamlabs Prime, I believe you can still see these, but I don't think they are all free for you. But if you have Streamlabs Prime, these are free. Now, there's a ton of apps that just do a lot of things for you. Obviously, I've installed Advanced Overlay Maker. I've installed a couple of sponsorship apps here. I've installed a Pretzel music player, which I don't use because I like to use Spotify. There's just a lot of apps in here. Like I said, I just installed and was configuring Moji Chat earlier. And that seems kind of neat. You get to make your own avatar to respond to subs, follows, bits, and donations, any of them or all of them. And that is pretty cool. There's just a lot of things you can do in here. And if you have Streamlabs Prime, all of these apps are free, and it's I don't know, it's pretty cool. So you can see the ones that I've installed here on the side. This is your dashboard. This opens up a website. And what this is showing you is some basic stats. You have a lot of things that you can look at. A lot of things I mentioned, your app store, there's the multi-stream, there's the widgets, the alert boxes, there's some additional analytics. This is where you can access your merch store. And if you have Streamlabs Prime, you get a merch store that you can set up with some really good quality merchandise. They have brands like American Apparel, Champion, other brands you can set up, and you can buy them at cost for yourself. You can determine the profit that you get from every item that you sell. They have a tip page which you set up, so they will give you if you have a domain name, you set up the tip page, and they will completely configure that, and they'll set it up with like in your domain name with a lot of elements from here, and you can do a lot of configuration on that page, including your merch. You can embed your stream. Like I use morphine.live, and you'll see this stream will be embedded in there. So you could watch it on there if you wanted to, as well as access the merch store and all that kind of thing. That's another perk that you get from having Streamlabs Prime, which is really kind of cool. Some additional perks that you get with Streamlabs Prime are you can go and create panels for Twitch in whatever style you want, obviously changing the text. You can create YouTube thumbnails. Again, you can get some of this stuff you can do this stuff on Placeit as well, but it's very convenient being right here in Streamlabs, which is kind of cool. You can go and create a logo if you wanted to. This is where you can go and configure CloudBot. If you have Streamlabs Prime, one kind of cool thing, I haven't done it yet, but one thing you can do is if you say create an additional additional account on Twitch and name it whatever you want, or you could use your main one if you wanted to. You could rename your bot. So right now my bot, it says Streamlabs. I could rename it Morphine or whatever, and then that would be the bot name. But other than that, all of these other things are just typical setup for Streamlabs for the bot. So you have mod tools like this is for chat, like caps protection, symbol protection, link, word, paragraph, emote, all that kind of stuff. You have modules, so you can add as many modules as you want. And these are basically games that you have active for chat to use. I have a couple enabled. I believe I might have configured them. I don't remember. Commands. This is where you see like the exclamation point and then keyword I believe it's in my my stream title. You see the other people's stream titles. So if you were to type in, exclamation Discord or social or YT right now, you would see what you see on screen, and you could create as many of them as you want. These are some default ones that it shows you that are active, and you can turn them on or off, edit them, the text however you want. Also edit the permission, who can use it. You have time as you set up. Those are all of the Streamlabs text that you see showing up in my chat. I can set the interval, how often they show up, and as well as the number of lines in chat that have to be there before it plays. The reason you would set these is basically to make sure that there's actually chat going on before you have this going on. I mean, you could set it to 1 if you want, but that would be kind of silly. Quotes. You can set up quotes and then you can activate that. There's loyalty. So these are loyalty points. So this is showing everybody that has been in your stream and how many points that they have, and how long they've been in there. And these are those are the channel points that you get that people can use. I can actually go ahead and add points to all viewers if I wanted to. and that will ripple through and it'll add 200 to a certain amount of points. Let me go back here. So I'm sure that to like Code Wolf, you probably noticed that you just got 200 more points. So that's how that works. Here's a loyalty store where you could add some items in here that people can get with their loyalty rewards. It's not like merch. It's just, I don't know. It's not merch. It's the default ones here are stream perks, sound effects, access codes, and I would make them up however I wanted to. I haven't done this yet. It's probably something I will do. I can create a poll. I can do betting. I can set up a giveaway. I can manage users, or I can also import things from other bots or stream elements if you're using stream elements. So yes, you can use stream elements even if you're using Streamlabs. So that is about this interface you're looking at, which is the bulk of Streamlabs, the bulk of what you need to know to actually get up and running and put a stream out there and have it look quality.